it's my biggest life educator because like it translates everything in the basketball court translates to real life communication, hard work, putting in the hours to see the reward. Like everything who I am today, I owe it to basketball because I just take all those basketball lessons into the real life. Like if you work hard in the basketball court, chances are you're gonna work hard outside of the basketball court. If you
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bridging Impact Podcast. I have my guest, Vic Costa, here. He is the founder of VC Basketball and also the player development and assistant varsity basketball coach at Santa Monica High School. I'm at Venice. He's right up the road from me, but hey, we're still here. We're connected because we both care about kids. There's no rivalry here when it comes to that. We're going to dive into that a little bit later. So, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So let's dive right in. One of the things that we're about here at Bridging Impact Podcast about passing that impact back. And I'm just curious, what kind of impact has the game of basketball had on you?
Man, should we start from the beginning?
Start from the beginning. Give me the very beginning.
So, I used to live in Brazil, actually. And let's start from the very beginning. I was born here, Santa Monica, St. John's. But my parents are from Brazil. So when they split up when I was about like 2, 3, my mom decided to go back to Brazil. My dad stayed. So I went back with my mom. I lived in Brazil till I was about 12. I've always wanted to be like a professional athlete, an athlete sort of thing, like be involved in sports because my dad was a world champion in jiu-jitsu. He always put me in sports. He forced me to like play soccer, swimming, jiu-jitsu, just very involved in the sports and like always feeding me good food, making sure I rest well. So he always had that like sports mindset. So I always wanted to be a professional athlete. And then when I decided to come back to the United States, I was in Brazil, right?
Right.
With my mom. And I always wanted to be a professional athlete. What's huge in Brazil is soccer.
Right.
So I played soccer my whole when I was younger in Brazil. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. But when I came back to United States, to Los Angeles to live with my dad around the 6th grade, around when I was 12, and I signed up into middle school, all they would do is play basketball before school, during lunch, after school. And then I started falling in love with that basketball culture, that LA basketball culture. It was around that time where Lakers had that monster team with they were champions at the time with Kobe, Andrew Bynum, Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom, Sasha Vujacic, and I just play basketball at school, come back home, watch the Laker games and the glory days they had, and I just fell in love with the game of basketball. So I decided to sign up for my little middle school league. Yeah, and then I actually was not bad at it. The Santa Monica High School coach came to one of the league games, and after the games he approached me and my dad and he was like, I like your son's game. We would love to have him play at the Santa Monica High School level. So I was like, whoa, I can play in high school? So I was like, I went to high school. I still play soccer, of course, because I came from Brazil. I was a really good soccer player. And when I went to high school, I had to pick one because they're in the same season. So I was like, do I stick with soccer, something I'm better at right now but I don't love as much, or do I try this new sport that I just found out that I'm completely in love with? So I went with my heart and decided to go with basketball, which I wasn't as good as I was at soccer, but I just loved it way more. And that's how I started playing basketball. And I played high school. Started off with like little to no skills, so they just threw me at the center, power forward positions, just a bigger body, just rebound, try to block shots, make layups, sort of thing. Right. So eventually I was like, I'm not 7 feet. Let's like work on my skills. So I really started taking skills development serious, and I started working on my skills. Eventually I went to the 3. And then eventually I went to the 2, started shooting well, and then ended up playing the 1, 2 at the college and professional level. So I strongly believe in player development because I went from a center with no skills or abilities, little to no abilities at all, to playing professionally at the 1 and 2 position. So it was cool. That's how I started with basketball because of the LA culture and everything. The Lakers, Kobe Bryant. That's how I would say I started with the basketball journey.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things about that journey, right, is obviously living in different countries, having this two different loves of different sports, but something I find really interesting for you, especially now that I know that you're a basketball trainer, and I think what makes a great basketball trainer is not someone that had the game come easy to them, but because you started as a 4 and 5, because you were, taller, you had to learn how to become more skilled, but you learning that craft versus it coming naturally to you has probably helped you become a teacher of the game and getting, giving that knowledge back to kids. Before we go there, I'd love for you to kind of expand on your collegiate and professional experience and how that has also helped shape you and your teachings.
For sure. So at high school, not a lot of people know this, but I wasn't highly recruited from high school. I had Jonah Matthews and New Williams on my team my senior year. And if you don't know Jonah Matthews, he's killing it in the EuroLeague right now. His brother Jordan Matthews made it to the March Madness, the national championship.
Okay.
Believe they took the L on that, but still made it to the national championship. Sort of players like New Williams, he plays professionally as well. He played in the Big Three. I think now he's going to the G League. I'm actually help him prepare him for that. But I just played with players like that took all the attention. So I wasn't highly recruited at high school. I had to join. After my senior year. I was still unsigned, so I joined a couple Ryan Silver camps or some like unsigned senior camps, and that's where I got all my looks. That was like my final try. I always wanted to play college basketball and play professionally, of course, but I wasn't just gonna go professionally from high school to pro, so I had to go to college. So that was my mission coming out of senior year: just find an offer, get an offer, find a college that I can call home and have a good career at, and then hopefully play professionally. So at one of these unsigned senior camps, I went off, and then I had a couple coaches approach me. The best fit for me was University of Laverne, which wasn't that far. I went on a visit. I met one of my best friends still to this date that I keep in touch with, and it just felt right. And I committed, stayed 4 years there. And then my senior year, I did well enough to get a couple interest from agents, try to help me out play pro. So I signed with an agent, and then we made it happen. I went right out of college. I went to did a couple tours in Europe. Great experience, one of the best trips of my life. Just out there, just traveling and getting paid to hoop, something I love doing, and just going out of the country and getting out of this little bubble that we all are on, and just seeing the world out there and like all the amazing cultures and things that are out there that people have no idea about because they're just so stuck in this little hometown bubble, and like they don't want to go out there. So it was a great experience just to travel and see all these beautiful things. And then after Europe, I used my Brazilian nationality. I got dual citizenship, so I don't count as a foreign player. A lot of these other countries, they have a policy that only allows like 3 to 4 foreign players per team. So that helped me out a lot. I counted as a Brazilian player, and I stayed in Brazil for about like 4 years or about that. Played for like many different clubs, like 4 to 5, maybe 6 clubs out there. Great experience, man. Great experience. Learned a lot. Played play with a lot of good players, learn from a lot of good coaches, play with a lot of bad players, learn from a lot of bad coaches as well. But it was definitely a great experience.
It's probably a really great feeling to know and look back on, some of the times and memories that you have from that. And obviously when you get the opportunity to play in Europe and then also in Brazil, right? Like you were talking about, you got to see and connect and meet with so many different people and have your mind kind of expanded, outside of, from, not just being in Santa Monica or LA, right? Obviously it's still a melting pot of cultures here in LA, but there's just something about being in a different country, obviously, and a different, completely different cultures. What do you think you learned most about yourself in those experiences?
I learned everything about myself in those experiences because that's when I was by myself the most. I was in a different country with people that didn't speak my language, that I was away from my friends, family, didn't speak the language, like I said, and completely out of my comfort zone. So that's when you grow the most. When you're the most uncomfortable, that's probably the biggest time for growth, honestly, and just those nights by yourself, and you have a lot of time to reflect and think and figure out who you want to be and who you are, because at the end of the day, man, we're all just born from a miracle, and we're all just trying to find our purpose and what our mission is in this world. And so that gave me a lot of time to like get away from my comfortable circle and like really just reflect and work on myself and work on my game, work on sharpening my mental, sharpening my physical, trying to be the best I can be. So it was probably the biggest time of growth for me when I was playing overseas, for sure.
No, that's huge. I think you talked about something that I feel like a lot of people are, I don't know if chasing is quite the right word, but are looking for us, and you're talking about that purpose. And I'm just curious now, as you still are obviously playing. You play for the Basketball Junkies VBL League, and you're still playing quite a bit. But I feel like you, from what I see, right, it looks like you get a lot of joy out of teaching and coaching. And so, how does teaching and coaching play into what you feel like you're, discovering your purpose as?
Yeah. So let's get into how I got into coaching and training. So first, my first exposure to coaching and training was when I was in college, my freshman year. My college coach was like, during the summer, he said he had an opportunity for some of us if we wanted to make an extra money, playing and coaching the game we love, doing camps at Open Gym Premier. I don't know if you know.
Yep, OGP.
Open Gym, OGP. Started off like working camps there, and their camps are insane, man. They have like 300 plus kids at each camp, and it's like that's when I was first exposed to like coaching and training. I was part of those camps during the summer, and like that's when I found out I was like, whoa, this is actually kind of fun, just giving back, helping kids become better versions of themselves on the court and off the court. A lot of these kids don't have the right guidance, or their parents don't know much about basketball, so when you can come in and just help them out, and the look on their face after they get like a move that you taught them, and after they go from being a bench player to a starter, you help them get through those goals. It's just so rewarding, and that's what I feel like I was brought in this world to do, to help people out and give them the blueprint and help guide them to where they want to go.
Yeah, the guidance is such a key point. Yeah. You're talking about like mentorship, right? Because it's way more than just breaking down a skill and teaching them a skill, right? If you're going to help someone go from being on the bench to starter, that's a different mindset, right? That's a different way that they have to interact as teammates and know the playbook and know their coach and build trust. So, talking about and going back to my original question from a couple segments ago, I'm just curious when it comes to teaching the game. A lot of what you have taught, or I feel like, comes from what you have learned from transitioning from being a big. So can you talk about your kind of teaching of the game philosophy and how your learning experience has influenced your coaching style now?
Yeah, first I want to say that like because I grew up, my parents didn't know anything about basketball. So I grew up with no blueprint. I had to kind of like teach myself. I used to go to school. After school, I used to go straight to the YMCA and just hoop till my parents like had to like drag me home.
Yeah.
So and then also going to YouTube videos and just like trying to teach myself and just trying to like get this going, like working with different types of different trainers. Like I used to work with some big trainers that I learned a lot from, but I didn't have that much money growing up, so I would just go on YouTube, and YouTube would help me out with like just watch highlights all day during class, just like watching highlights. At the time, what were some of the highlights I was watching? I was watching like, remember like Austin Rivers used to go crazy in high school. Yeah. Used to watch his highlights. Used to watch like Cesar Guerrero.
Okay.
You know who that is? He went to Bosco.
Yep. Yeah.
Who else? QB Gardner. All those guys that were going crazy in Ball's life. Used to just watch and be like, "Dang, how do you do that?" And like, used to watch their moves and like try to like go to the court after and try them out. What was your question again, man?
No, you're good, because you're bringing up a really important point that I actually learned like recently is like the greatest artists are thieves, and you're talking about going and watching the best players, right? Watching their highlights, watching how they train. So if you want to be a great student, like when you're teaching and you're working with your athletes, how often do you talk about, hey, are you watching, certain players on YouTube? Are you watching how they train? Are you watching how they show up? Like, how do you...
Like, watching film is very important. Like, when you're watching a game, like, are you just watching just to watch, or, like, are you noticing the little things? Like, how... are you watching the off-ball? Yeah. Are you watching how they're playing their defense? Are you watching how they're initiating their plays and, like, what actions they're doing? And, all those little things. Like, after I started taking basketball serious, I would just watch the games with a different mindset. And then when I started coaching and training, I even started breaking down even more.
Right.
And I started studying the game even more after I became a coach and trainer. And at the end of the day, man, this is just a game. It's way bigger than the game. Yes, you can teach these kids all these skills and how to shoot and all that, but if you can't teach them how to be like these kids, how to be like a good human being, good member of society, a good functional human being that can conversate and be respectful and be just a sound person, then that doesn't mean anything. Like, you can have all these kids doing all this type of stuff, but if they're disrespectful, if they don't know how to talk to people, if they don't have good sportsmanship, if they don't have all these other values that are so important in addition to the skills, then they're not going anywhere. Like, if you have a kid with all the skills in the world, but he doesn't have the grades, he's disrespectful, he's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, yes, we're basketball trainers, but we're also mentors, like you said, and we're trying to be good, positive role models and help these kids grow up to be good people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it goes way more beyond the game, right?
Yep.
And I think one of the things that, I'm kind of curious about in terms of, we can kind of talk about this as both trainers, is like, what do you think some of the biggest challenges you have, kind of faced as a trainer a trainer and coach when it comes to kind of helping athletes understand the importance of some of the things you just talked about being respectful, about showing up on time, about being a great teammate, when sometimes I feel like it's easier sometimes to show up, all right, and put my head down and, do my work, but it's so much more than that.
What was the question? Like, what do you think?
What have been the biggest challenges about teaching more than just basketball skills to athletes?
It's just trying to fix that. It's probably their behaviors and probably what's that stemming from is their environment, like where they come from or how they were raised, and just trying to put them in the right direction. Sometimes it takes a little adjustment, but you gotta keep keep doing it, keep pounding on them every training practice, you know, and then eventually they'll get it. And so it's just pounding the same information over and over again. Sometimes it's frustrating when you have to explain yourself over and over again, but it's just part of the job, and whatever it takes to get them to that next level and help them, we will. And then as players, coaches always say, if we're not talking to you, then that's a bad sign, right?
Yeah, it's a bad sign,
But if we're on your...
you can say it.
If we're on your ass, then that's a good thing, because we care about it, and we want you to improve and get better in that certain area. So
right, it means we care, right?
Yeah,
it means you care. And so I think one of the things that I thought about, you know, when I was first starting out coaching, I thought I would say one thing one time and I'd say it and they get it, right? Like, you know, I'm like, that's just not how it is. And kind of as I was hearing you talking, and you're talking about things consistently, is I think about it in terms of, like, number one, the first time you say it is you're planting a seed. But, you know, any plant, any organism can't grow without water, without nutrients.
Right. And
that water and nutrients is consistently saying the same thing over and over again. Right. And that's how a flower is bloomed, and sometimes there's a storm, and then you got to pick up the roots and pull the weeds, right? Like, it's just all part of the process. And so, like, what do you think really, like, lights you up? Can you talk about, like, any of the athletes you've been working with? I know that I see that you're doing great work, like, and I see some of the stories that you post, and the joy that they're getting from. Can you share any of those stories for the audience out there?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just seeing them grow. Like, one of the kids I trained, he was just not physical at all. Couldn't even make a layup. He's bigger, so we're trying to get him in the post, like hit his post game. And then last practice I had him. He finally, like, I didn't tell him anything. He just sealed his man, demanded the ball, got the ball, turned around, laid it up. And for the first time, I've been trying to get him to do that for, like, months. Yeah. And then when he finally did it, I'm like, oh my God, man. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want you to do every time. And he's like, smile in his face just went, like, from ear to ear. And it's like, just moments like that when it's like, when they break that barrier and make it to the next level, it's like, all right, cool, now you got that down, let's keep working on what's next, you know, like, let's keep adding to your game, and you know, the ceiling, the sky's the limit. Like, as long it's always up to the player. Like, we have an impact on players, of course, but, like, at the end of the day, it's up to them if they want to make it to the next level, how far they want to go. It's like, you got to want that for yourself. Like, I can be here like David Goggins and try to motivate you as much as I can, but at the end of the day, if you don't get your ass up and put in the work, then nothing's gonna happen. Right. There's no secret, man. It's like, it's just work. Yeah. Like, it's just put in the work. What you put in is what you're gonna get out. Yeah. So there's it's not really a secret, like, how to be successful in basketball. Just work your ass off as hard as you can every day. Just try to get better every single day, literally.
Yeah, and be a sponge. You talked about daily deposits when we work together. You know, it's just like, it's consistency, right? I can play for 4 hours today, but if I don't play for another 4 hours for a month, then I'm not making any progress, right? You know, it's about consistently showing up.
I love that daily deposit analogy, metaphor. So the daily deposit, it's like, every day you get in the gym, you work as hard as you can, you deposited 20. Yeah. Every day you do that, you deposit 20. Every day you take off, 20 gets taken off. Right. So if you take a week off, that's $100 off your bank account. Right. But if you go for a week, every single day, that's $100 in your bank account. Like, it's that's how I look at it. Like, if you keep stacking days after days after days after days, then you look back and it's like, wow, look how much better I got. Right. Just from being consistent, showing up every day, and
Yeah, no, stacking days is the progress, right? Like, I think this is going to be like my 73rd podcast episode, and at first, like, I was kind of nervous in terms of, like, a little rigid on my questions, and now I'm just kind of, like, flow with it because I've stacked, you know, a ton of episodes in a row, you know, so teaching those life skills, like, through the game of basketball about stacking and progress is going to help them when they go to college, whether they play college basketball or not, when they're going to help them in their professional life, whether they're playing basketball professionally or not. And I think one of the things that I really enjoy that you talked about is that smile on his face, when he was starting to get it and you were just getting excited for him. Talk about the confidence that can come from just becoming better at basketball that then carries over into academics, into social life, and beyond.
Yeah. So, like, basketball is I say this all the time, it's my biggest life educator, because like it translates everything in the basketball court, translates to real life. Communication, hard work, putting in the hours, to see the reward, like everything, like who I am today, I owe it to basketball, because I just take all those basketball lessons into the real life. Like, if you work hard in the basketball court, chances are you're going to work hard outside of the basketball court. If you just stuff like that, man. It's just like sports in general, not just basketball. It just gives you so many. It just teaches you so many lessons that nothing else could compare to it. Like, how to be a good teammate, how to work with other people, dedication, hard work. It just, lessons goes on and on and on. It's just, you can speak some of that. Like, I see you doing your thing, like with the podcasting. You have your own kids, like you have your own brand now. So I just want to congratulate you too, because you're doing a great job, man. It's like the thing we were talking about earlier. Like, it doesn't have to be a or world. It can be an and world. It could be like, you can have your training stuff and your stuff going on, and I can have my stuff going on. It's not like it's either you or me. Like, it's just like, we can, like, we're coming on together, we're collabing, we're working together, we're like trying to uplift each other. And some of these other people and trainers, like, they see other trainers coming up and they kind of like don't treat them right, or they look at it they look at it as a threat, like, where we could all be working together and making amazing things happen. Which I think we could make amazing things happen, as long as we we work together and we put our love for the game first, and that's
100%. I mean, actually, you took my natural transition out of it. I was going to go there.
You're
so yeah, I guess we're just on the same wavelength, because you bring up a good point, right? We're 5 miles pretty much separated down the road from each other, right? We could be rivals, right? You could be, you're at Santa Monica, I'm at Venice, right? When I came to Venice, I'm like, how is Santa Monica not naturally our rival, right? They're right down the road. I didn't get it, because I'm still kind of new to the LA basketball scene. But regardless of that, right, I've came and checked out a training session, and worked out. I'd worked with, like, honestly, a quarter of your kids before. Like, I just knew who they were just because I've been in the community. Which is just, it's so exciting. Like, that's just like, if we're a coach or a trainer and we really say that we're really about for the kids, not our bank account, right? It's an right? Like, if some of my athletes who go to Venice or in the Venice area want to go train, with VC basketball, like, all the better, right? All the better. And I know before we were talking about collabing on some camps and clinics potentially, because I feel like is what really brings possibility for the kids. Like, that's what it's all about. So I'd love for you to continue to expand, maybe even on some ideas you have on this, and so maybe even the audience can listen and be like, if they're a coach or a trainer, they can kind of get inspired about who they could potentially partner with in their communities.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, let's go back how we met each other at the Venice Basketball League free basketball clinic that we they just asked us to coach and help out, and like, just because for the love of the game, we just decided to show up, no strings attached, like no payments involved. We just showed up because we love the game, and then that's where we met each other. I just thought you're super cool, and like, you love the game. You coached at Venice, you got your own thing going on. I'm like, wow, this guy is a good guy. This guy I want to work with sometime, like collaborate together sometime. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, this guy coaches at Venice, see them as competition.
Yep.
Screw Venice. Nah,
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, like this is the same area. Like I actually grew up, like lived in Venice for a lot of my life, and I love Venice. I love Santa Monica. Like we just gotta put our basketball minds together and come up with something great, like which I feel like we could. And it's like kids learn a lot more when they like learn from you, and then they work with another trainer, they gain a little bit more right there, and then they work with someone else, they gain more, and they have more connections now, and it's like we're all like one big family. So it doesn't have to be rivalry, and it's not that serious, man. At the end of the day, we're here to do our best, and we're in a spinning rock in the middle of space. Like it ain't that deep, man. It's like let's just live our life to the fullest. Like try to collaborate, help lift each other up, and coexist together in the best way we can. So
100%. Yeah, the VC times BTG sounds pretty nice, actually.
Hey, man, we got to make it happen.
We'll make that happen. So as we kind of wrap up this, kind of final section of our podcast, you've kind of shared quite a bit around your journey. I just want you to kind of maybe lay the groundwork for, in terms of like the future, for what impact you're really hoping to have with VC basketball, but also we both know that it's beyond basketball.
Yeah. So first of all, where I want to go with VC basketball, it's like I want to be able to help and impact as many lives as I can through this game of basketball. I've been able to do a lot of cool stuff, see a lot of cool things, travel to a lot of cool places because of this basketball. And it's crazy to think how far, how many places I was able to see because of an orange ball, and how many relationships I was able to like make, like lifelong relationships that I will probably have for the rest of my life through this game. So I just want to be able to keep growing, keep getting better, keep learning, keep helping as many kids as I can. We want to eventually start doing like camps and clinics, like you said, collabing with you. Maybe start like a team or something. I'm not sure, man. And then also we got a few ideas and a few projects in the works right now. I wanted to kind of get into make 3-on-3 a little bit bigger out here.
Okay.
Because when
I
went let's talk about that, because everywhere else in the world, like when I went to Brazil, when I first went to Brazil, everyone was just playing 3-on-3, and I used to get mad. Like, let's run the fives. Let's go full court. Like, what are we doing? Like, we have 10. Like, let's run fives. And they're like, nah. Like 3-on-3 is huge.
Yeah.
In Brazil, and the rest of the world is huge. FIBA, like the FIBA rule, like it's so dynamic too. Like how we play 3-on-3 here is like we play threes. Someone scores. All right, check back up. Yeah. FIBA 3-on-3. It's dynamic. Gnarly, you keep going. It's nonstop, man. Yeah. It's like you make a basket. The team that got scored on grabs it from the net, got to clear it, and you're playing right away. Yeah. It's like it's amazing. So I was kind of like trying to bring awareness and to the sport out here, because it's not big at all out here. So and it's an Olympic sport. Right. It's an Olympic sport. The ball is a little bit different. It's like a little bit smaller. So like I feel like I'm LeBron James when I'm like competing with this. Like it's like all small, and like I can like do crazy stuff with it, and it's super fun. So I kind of just want to maybe like dip my feet in and try to bring some 3-on-3 out here, and just keep every day. I don't have like this is where I want to be. Blah blah blah. I'm just doing it every day. I'm just doing my best, like trying to get a little bit closer, a little bit better, and just trying my best every day. So that's where I see VC going, man. Just hopefully just keep growing, keep getting better, keep collabing with people like yourself and other people that love the game of basketball.
That's dope. That's what's up. I think one of the most important things that you said in there is just you're taking it day by day, right? We can have all these outlandish plans, and I've had those before, but a lot of times it's the best if we just do our best every single day and kind of chip away, and make progress.
And see where you end up, man.
See
like,
where we end up.
Don't set like a limit for yourself. Like you can work every day and maybe explode past that limit, and it's like you don't even know where you can end up at. So just do your best every day, and like absolute best every day. Don't look at yesterday and be like, oh, I could have went a little bit harder that day. I could have been a little bit less lazy, or I could have not slept in, and just like live every day to the fullest and see where you end up at. Like,
don't leave anything on the floor.
Don't leave anything. Yeah, basically.
I love it. Where can the audience potentially reach out and connect to you and learn more about VC basketball or yourself?
You can find me on Instagram, vic.coast, vic.coast, COAST. Vic Costa on all social medias. Basically, coming out with a website. It's ready already, but I just need to put like some final touches in there. But yeah, that's where you can find me. How is your kids at Venice? How's that going?
Everything's going good, man. Everything's good. So
do you have this issue with like 8th graders coming in and thinking they're going to be straight on varsity right away? Like players like
I'm not
trying to be on varsity right away.
Not trying to be on varsity right away.
And these kids, I just want to leave off on this note. We don't have to leave off on this note, but let me just get this on my chest.
Yeah, I got you.
These kids, coming into high school, do not expect to make your varsity team right away. I feel like this generation that we live in now, they just want their reward rather than putting in the work and earning that reward.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous to me because you're gonna be where you should be. Like no coach is gonna look at you and see a varsity level talent and be like,
oh yeah,
he's a freshman, I'm gonna leave him a freshman because no, we're trying to make the best team possible. Like if you're a varsity player, you're gonna be on varsity. If you're a JV player, you're gonna be on JV. If you're a freshman player, you're gonna be on freshman. And it's like, don't be like, oh, now I'm a transfer because coach don't like me, blah 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 blah. That's how they get. And it's like, no, like you really got to put in the work. You got to earn your spot. Like if you're a freshman, use that as motivation. Like, okay, I need to work a lot harder. Talk to your coach, see what I need to work on. And get to that level. Like most people don't know this, but I played JV as a junior.
Yeah. So did I. Yeah.
Michael Jordan played JV as a junior.
Right.
Markelle Fultz played JV as a junior. It's not how you start, it's about how you finish, man. It's like I don't even know why I was on JV. I feel like I had a good talent to be on varsity. I think it's because I played football or went to Brazil or something. Coach, whatever reason it was, it doesn't matter. I was on JV, and that's where I was supposed to be at the time.
Right.
My senior year, my junior year, we had 10 returning seniors.
Right.
So it's like, do I want to sit on the bench and just have the title of being a varsity player, or do I want to be on JV and really worry about my development and getting that playing experience? And that's what's going to further your career when you're actually playing and getting that playing experience rather than just sitting down and having a title of being a varsity player.
It's about development.
It's about development.
It's 100% about development, and you have to earn that spot. Like I literally, by the time today I posted an episode about what we're talking about now, but I mean obviously when this comes out, when people watch it, it'll be about a month later. But it's so true, right? Everyone wants, like I'm gonna have like 15, 17 guys on my freshman team. Everyone wants to play. Well, only 5 play at a time, and I'm gonna have a very honest conversation on Monday about. I'm going to meet with every single one-on-one. I'm going to tell you exactly where you are, how you can get more minutes, and the truth of where you are right now. Because I feel like everyone has this kind of mindset that, number one, they're going to get playtime, and number two, that they have to score 10-plus points a game. That's the biggest issue that I have in terms of, like, there's so many other ways you can impact the game. So many other ways. Yeah, of course, you have to score points to win. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be you. It could be your teammate, him or her. It doesn't matter. So.
Yeah. Playing your role is it's a big thing too. Sometimes you can be more skilled than someone, but you're not playing because they play their role better than you.
Right.
So, like, if coach needs you to rim run, rebound, block shots, and you're over here, you got the size and the abilities to do all that, where you're over here trying to bring the ball up and shoot like Steph Curry.
Yep.
It's like, we're going to play the dude that's going to play the role the best way. There's only so many scorers on a team.
Yeah. You can only have two.
You can't have 5 kids scoring 20 plus a game. So you just got to find your role for the season. If you want a bigger role, or you want more minutes, or you want a starting spot, then you have to work your ass off and go earn that.
Right. And even if I worked my butt off right now and I tried out for the Lakers, I'm not going to get a spot because I'm not talented enough. You know, like I would be in the gym every time. So I think sometimes kids expect, even if they are in the gym all the time, like, you know what, like you can put yourselves in position, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it, right? Hard work is also risky, right? You are risking a lot of your time, you know, and energy, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee it. Obviously, it puts you in a better spot, right, to be able to, you know, get more play time. But with that, I just like what you're talking about with playing with a role, right? You look in the NBA, right? Like think of a guy like Matthew Dellavedova or even like JJ Redick. They're not necessarily the most skill. I mean, JJ Redick obviously a great shooter, right? But not necessarily in every other skill department. But he's excellent at his role, right? You have to understand your role, and obviously great coaches put their players in positions and roles that fit. But I think it's also would be extra, you know, credit for a player, right, to kind of understand what am I best at? How can I contribute to winning, right? Does taking tough contested twos contribute to winning? I'm not sure.
You have to be honest with yourself too. Like you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what type of player am I? You can't believe these parents and all these people in your ears like that have never played the game at all. And they're telling little Jimmy from the stands, shoot the ball, shoot the damn ball. It's like, no, you're not in practice. You're not seeing what these kids have been working on, and coach wants them to do certain things. And you got parents over here, like my dad included. He was one of those parents that my dad never played basketball, doesn't know shit about basketball, and he's over here like, shoot the ball, Vic, like go take over, like. And it's like that's not
the offense for running.
That's not what we're working on right now, Pops. Like this is not what we worked on in practice. This is not how coach wants this team to run. It's like this is at the end of the day, like high school, college, pro. It's you're gonna play under a system, and you have to do your best to play your role within that system. That's how you're going to succeed in a system, by playing your role to the best of the ability. And if you want a different role, a bigger role, then you go in the off season, you work on that, and then hopefully you get that.
Exactly. No, I've been saying since summer, right? We'll see who's been working, right? The results will show.
Oh my God! So many kids, like, so many kids told me right before summer started, I'm gonna get in the gym with you all day, every day, like 5 times a week. Let's get it. Like I really want to get better.
Yeah.
Didn't see them at all during the summer.
Nope.
So, season gonna come, and they're gonna be mad when they're not playing, and it's like that's your fault, man. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, it's all up to you. Like you put in, you get out what you put in. So. If you didn't put in the work, then you're probably not going to reap many of the rewards. But if you did put in the work and you stay true to yourself, every day you got a little bit better working on your craft, then you'll probably be all right.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right, that's a great place to end this show. Thank you so much for your time today, Vic.
My God, appreciate you, man.
You got it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast. We'd love it if you would like, subscribe, leave a comment and a review on whatever platform you're on. It's the best way to help us grow. We appreciate you for doing that. We'll shout you out on social media. I'd also love if you connected with me on social media. Let me know your thoughts, and this is why I do it. I want to share knowledge and wisdom from experienced leaders to people like yourself and myself, so we can have this dialogue and move forward, make an impact on the world. So stay tuned, stay subscribed. Cheers.